4:3 aspect ratio, old school.
Well, hang on, we're going to show you what happened. Schumacher waves his hand in disgust. Now this is it. Here
Pay close attention.
they are, Schumacher on the left, Damon Hill.
Let's start looking at this gap in between Schumacher in the Benetton and Hill in the Williams. Use this barrier, this white barrier that's coming into view now as a reference.
Hill on the right. Damon
Look at where the white barrier is.
attacks.
Which car is ahead? Which car is behind? Where is the braking zone?
Attacks. Go.
Okay, only now that the Williams, the front wing of that Williams, is drawing level with the rear wheels of the Benetton.
Goes through on the inside. Contact. Now
Oops-a-daisy.
there's going to be a big argument about that. Damon Hill will say, I was close enough to get through on the inside. Schumacher will say, in no way were you. But the
Let me know what you think in the comments section, or will we get an expert telling us how it really is?
result is, of course, that Johnny Herbert is leading the British Grand Prix.
Well, I think looking at that, Damon Hill...
Oh, somebody that won a Grand Prix that gets sacked in favour of a guy that never won a single thing in his F1 career.
was really far too far away. Let's have another look now. This is through the 100...
Oh, somebody was far too far away.
150 miles an hour bridge corner. Look, he's a long way away from Michael Schumacher. I don't know
Look at the white barrier, okay? Look at that, because it's going to be important.
quite what was going through his mind there, but...
Look at the curbing, okay? Look at the line that is the racing line. You can see the marks on the track of the line, the standard line that drivers take. And hence, before they change direction, they've reduced speed. If you are not halfway alongside your opponent at this stage, you back off. You're not entitled to the line around that corner. They do. They are entitled to that. Look at where Hill is. Now, I am British, but I am not a fanboy. So therefore, just because my fellow Brit, Damon Hill, is racing, I'm not going to jump up and defend Damon Hill. I'm going to look at the situation objectively. Who is right? Who is wrong? Michael Schumacher, a German man, is not in the wrong here. Damon Hill, a British man, is wrong.
certainly Schumacher...
Still, wheels behind. Front wheels behind the wheels, the rear wheels of Schumacher's car. Time is to be putting the foot on the brakes, but you've gone in there too hot. You put the foot on the brake.
...to brake relatively early.
Lock up. You lose control, you've locked up because you shouldn't be there.
But Schumacher turns in. Damon really has committed himself in a big way to come up the inside there. And unless Schumacher had some kind of a problem that we don't know about that caused him to brake...
Nothing to do with any problem of Schumacher. Hill was not in the right location to be able to attack at that corner. That's all it was about.
...very early, and he was certainly braking a little bit early. I don't think his handling of his car was that good, but that was, to my mind, far too much of an opportunist manoeuvre, I'm afraid, for Damon Hill there. There were still 14 laps to go of the British Grand Prix. And if
So Hill, that's not good enough. Your commentator, your expert said, no, Hill, you're in the wrong.
there was a time for that kind of do-or-die manoeuvre, it was going to be a lot later on in the race than that, and I really find it... I think probably Damon saw Michael slow and thought he had half a chance and committed himself. Let's have another look there. He comes up the
Braking zone.
inside, but he's going too quickly. He just cannot stop. He's committing himself too early. That's the way it looked to me.
Well, what a pity. But for Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill, as Damon dejectedly walks in, and do I detect from his body language that maybe he felt he was being a bit precipitate, or maybe reading something into his stance. Well, he's fed up. You see he pulls the tube away from his helmet. Just as in 1993 he saw the...
Oh, he pulled the tube away from his helmet. in that display of frustration.
British Grand Prix slipped from his grasp, so it has in 1995. But for Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher, now Reed, Johnny Herbert and David Coulthard.
It's Super Johnny.
Because there is a new Benetton and Williams battle for victory in the British Grand Prix, and you are looking at it. Johnny Herbert.
Johnny Herbert. Let's fast forward a little bit. Only about a minute further on, and we have this.
Johnny siding his way through the traffic, and Coulthard right in his wheel tracks.
And again, if Coulthard had any space to go by, he would have gone by Johnny Herbert then. Now that
I thought that's what happened when you don't leave the space.
That is Heinz-Harald Frentzen, the Sauber driver, ahead of Johnny Herbert there. And these cars, the Benetton of Herbert and the Williams of Coulthard, they both have the same Renault engine. They're the same speed on the straights. Neither of them have got any more pit stops to go. And Coulthard comes to have a look on the inside, just like Damon Hill tried to do.
Exactly the same place, but this time...
Oh, exactly the same place, but this time...
They kept away from each other, and I can tell you...
More pit stops to go there. And these cars, the Benetton of Herbert and the Williams of Coulthard, they both have the same Renault engine.
Let's have a closer look. And let's have a look at that white barrier that was the reference point for the Hill-Schumacher incident.
They're the same speed on the straights. Neither of them have got any more...
Okay, white barrier. Where is Coulthard relative to Johnny Herbert? Okay, so he's right pretty much. His front wing is level with the rear wing of Herbert's car.
Pit stops to go.
And now Coulthard is approximately halfway alongside that Benetton. So now, what are the rules of engagement? Now, what does Johnny Herbert do?
Have a look at the...
Stays wide. But what does Coulthard do? Take a line around that corner where he maintains a tight line. Coulthard doesn't just send it and fuck it all the way across here, right? Running Herbert off this side of the track. You can't just go in a straight line, miss the corner and carry on across this track and fucking the other car off over here. Okay? That is not what you're allowed to do, kids. Okay? But what happens?
Inside just like Dave.
Is the room on track for both cars? Or does the car on the inside fuck it across this side of the track and shove the other car off so there's no racing room?
Damon Hill tried to do.
Wow. Those of us that have been watching the sport for some time know what is allowed and know what isn't. So this is the 1995 British Grand Prix. I mean, back in 1995, many of us would watch the British Grand Prix because we were interested in sport. I mean, you guys are mostly interested in gaming and simulated sports, you Strappon fanboys. But, you know, I wasn't into computers back then. Friends that had computers would probably, you know, take time out to watch the British Grand Prix whilst they were loading a game up on their Sinclair Spectrum Plus 2. But my parents, they bought me footballs and cricket bats as presents rather than computer games consoles, because then I could learn how to actually do something rather than think I knew about doing something by pressing little buttons on an electronic gadget. But what you kids do benefit from these days is knowledge at your fingertips. You have the internet. Amazing resource that you seem to not know how to use it properly, and you seem to misinterpret what it's telling you. You tend to use your desires to contort the information to somehow make it fit what you want it to be. So that 1995 British Grand Prix was won by Johnny Herbert. whilst Martin Brundle was spinning off whilst racing himself. But at that time, the title contenders were Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill, that Hill crashed Schumacher off. And at that stage, this was the situation for Michael Schumacher's record, as available to you all on a website called Wikipedia, which gives you information. And that would tell us that back in 1988, Michael Schumacher won a championship, 10 races, 9 wins, finished first in the championship. In 1990, won a championship, 11 races, 5 wins, first in that championship. The Macau Grand Prix, which is just 1 race, 1 win, we're not really going to count that because it's just 1 event, isn't it? So we've got a bit of pedigree here in terms of, you can see why this guy would have gone into Formula One, because he's a proven winner. So in 1991, he gets picked up by the Jordan team, and straight away, because he did really well in that race, Benetton signed him. So that was 91. 1992, he won his first race in the Benetton. 1993, he won another race. And then 1994, which would be his 4th season, he wins. 14 races, 8 wins. And in that 1995 season of Silverstone, Schumacher wins again. He wins the championship again. Now, at no stage in that Silverstone race, or that season, by the way, when Schumacher is the reigning world champion, is Schumacher or Hill described as being one of the greatest drivers in Formula One. And the reason why he's not described as being one of the greatest drivers in Formula One is that at that time, we can say Lewis Hamilton didn't exist at that time in motor racing. Michael Schumacher, he'd got 10 victories to his name. Max Verstappen wasn't there. Vettel wasn't there. The man out front was Alain Prost with 51 wins. If you've got 10 wins to his 51, you're not in the conversation. Ayrton Senna got 41 wins. If you got 10 wins to 41, you're not in that conversation. Fernando Alonso wasn't there. You got Mansell, 31 wins. Schumacher, you're on 10. Shut up. You're not even close to being in the conversation with Mansell yet. Jackie Stewart, 27. Jim Clark, 25. Lauda, 25. Fangio, 24. You've got a long way to go before you start being discussed in the same kind of conversation as these guys who have gone before you. But Damon Hill. Who's Damon Hill? Damon Hill. Daddy was a Formula One driver, Graham Hill. Oh, okay. But Damon himself had a stellar career prior to Formula One, winning Damon Hill entered Formula One in 1991, and then 1992 he was in a Williams and he got 3 wins. 1994, 6 wins. So Damon Hill's got 9 wins. 95 season, wins 4 again, comes second again. So he's got third, second. No World Championships. Not one of the greatest Formula One drivers we've ever seen. So they didn't say that he was one of the greatest Formula One drivers we've ever seen, which is normal. Lewis Hamilton. Let's have a look what Lewis did. Back in 2003, there was a Formula Renault UK Series, 15 races, where he won 10 of them and set pole position in 11 and won. The Bahrain Super Prix, he came first, but that was just a one-off event, so I don't really care about that. The Formula 3 Euro Series, 20 races, 15 wins, 13 pole positions. He won that. The Masters of Formula 3, well, 1 race, 1 win does not make you a master of anything. 2006 GP2, 21 races, 5 wins, but accumulated enough points to win the championship. So there's a pedigree of winning. We go into Formula One. First season, second in his first season in Formula One. Second season, wins it. So by the time we get through to our 6th season, we've got 20 odd wins. Further on down the line, by the time we get to 2021, the start of the 2021 season, we're down here. We're a 7-time world champion. We've got 90 odd Grand Prix victories under our belt. That puts us top of the tree, above Michael Schumacher in the rankings of being the greatest Formula One driver. Max Verstappen, pre-Formula One, in a race series where there were 33 Grand Prix where he took 10 victories, but there were 2 guys that were better than him in that series. He did finish first in this series of one race, the Zandvoort Masters, and then he comes into Formula One as a 12-year-old. 19 races, 12th. And then we get promoted to the Red Bull team in our second season. And then we get 2017. So by the time we get to 2021, we've got a couple of victories. We've got 10 victories under our belt. No world championships. We've got the best we've done is 3rd and 3rd. So it makes perfect sense when you've just achieved 3rd and 3rd in the championships that the experts of the sport have this to say.
Okay, copy, got it, leave it to me, says the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton.
2 of the greatest drivers we've ever seen on the grid in Formula One now.
2 of the greatest Formula One drivers on the grid that we've ever seen, with 10 wins between, where does this? Ronnie Peterson and Jody Scheckter. They'd both got 10 wins each. Are they in the conversation for being 2 of the greatest drivers we've ever seen on the grid in Formula One? Are they in that conversation? Let me know what you think in the comments section.